And Paul Whelan's family still fighting to bring him home. His brother David is joining us again live tonight. David, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me, Natasha.
And David, I immediately thought of you. I was so sorry to hear about the news this week. How is your family processing your brother being left out of this deal?
I think we're doing okay today. It's obviously been a hard couple of days. The White House really showed a great deal of trust in us and gave us a little bit of advance warning that it was happening, both that Ms. Griner was coming home and that Paul would not be. And so we were able to process all of that information privately. And I think that was very kind, and it has helped us to be prepared for the media attention and other attention to Paul's case, but also to prepare Paul or to talk to Paul about the information. And they also made sure that the U.S. Embassy called him and told him so he didn't learn from Russian media.
I appreciate that. Can you share a little of that with us? Do we know how Paul is handling the news of Brittney Griner's release?
Well, he said he's greatly disappointed, and I think you can understand that. We all had high hopes, probably overly inflated hopes based on the State Department's a substantial offer to Russia to bring both Paul and Brittney home. And, unfortunately, you start to maybe make plans. And I think Paul had been thinking about where he would live when he came back and things that you start to think about when you think you're coming to the end. And unfortunately, that's all fallen apart. So we're back to work today, and I'm sure he is recalibrating his own mental state so that he can continue to survive until his day comes.
That is so hard to hear. I'm tremendously sorry once again. Can you share a little bit about the details with us? I know that reportedly Griner's wife was invited to the Oval Office. President Biden shared the happy news with her and then later privately made the phone call to your parents. Do you know what he said to your parents when he broke that news?
I wasn't aware that he'd spoken to our parents. Someone from the State Department had come to speak to our sister, and that's how we heard on Wednesday.
Okay, I appreciate that. You recently slammed former President Trump after he criticized the Biden administration for the deal that it struck to free Brittney Griner, but not your brother. Why was that important to you, and what is your message to Mr. Trump tonight?
I don't know that I have a message for Mr. Trump. The office of the president is an important office, obviously, and it has a primary duty of taking care of all Americans, and that includes Paul. And so I understand that during Mr. President Trump's term, he didn't actually mention Paul. There was at no time he made a public comment about Paul's case. There's no tweet, there's no public statement, no speech. And so I understand that for whatever reason, he chose not to do that. But I think it's very unfortunate that he would choose to then use Paul's name in an attack against another hostage and another hostage release. And so that really put me off. I think the office of the president should be focused on bringing Americans back and being supportive, even after the president has left the office, of additional attempts to bring hostages home.
Are you confident that the Biden administration will get your brother out of Russia? And are you aware of any leverage that we may have left to get him freed?
At the moment, I don't know that there is any leverage on hand, but I think that the U.S. government is definitely determined to bring Paul home. Sometimes it isn't just the will, though. You have to have more than that. And at the end of the day, as the correspondent was saying just a moment ago, these are all nation states, and they're all sovereign, and they get to choose as well. It's not just a matter of the U.S. government saying what they would like. So hopefully they will come to an agreement and find something that the Russian government will exchange Paul for.
Are you aware of any concrete next steps at this point?
I'm not.
Are you reaching out to any other avenues to try to secure Paul's release?
No. I think in the past we might have considered doing more of that. We have worked with the Richardson Center, but I think that when you're not dealing with a terrorist organization, which might negotiate in a different way, when you're dealing with a nation state like Russia or China or Iran, then you really are waiting for the government of the citizen to take the next steps and to have the discussions. And so we're relying on the U.S. government to have those discussions with Russia, with the Kremlin, to bring Paul home.
David Whelan, always appreciate your time. I'm sorry for the continuing hardship and nightmare that your family is going through, and I know that you know this. We will continue spotlighting in any way that we can be helpful. Thank you for your time again tonight.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.